Welcome, everybody, to the final score. I'm your host, Nicholas Marcinov, and the finals for the Stanley Cup has been set. We're going to be seeing the Dallas Stars take on the Tampa Bay Lightning for Lord Stanley himself for the Stanley Cup. This is going to be a great physical matchup between two teams that deserve to be in the positions where they are. Now, I'm wearing a Vegas Golden Knights jersey because, well, I'm a Vegas Golden Knights fan. Yeah, I became a fan of hockey whenever Vegas came into the league. I've been called entitled, whatever. I love the sport of hockey so much that I really don't care who wins or loses because I love to just watch a good game of hockey. And that's what I think I'm going to get with these two teams. We're going to get some great hockey. But let's go ahead and get into this. Start talking about the Western Conference champions, the Dallas Stars. Now, I'm only talking about them first because they did beat the Vegas Golden Knights first, so they deserve to be talked about first. Their record right now, since returning to play, is 13-8 for a 62% win percentage. And not fantastic, but doesn't matter because look where they are. They made the Stanley Cup Finals. The way they got there was not pretty. In the round robin, they did not play very well, only winning one game, and that was against the St. Louis Blues. In round number one, they faced the Calgary Flames, who were looking on fire in the play-in series against the Winnipeg Jets. I really thought that the Calgary Flames were playing too hot for the Dallas Stars, especially after how the Dallas Stars started. I don't think I'm crazy for thinking that. They weren't playing their best hockey. But through the series, the Dallas Stars started heating up and showed why they're better than the Calgary Flames, at least in these playoffs. And round number two, the Dallas Stars faced off against one of the Cup favorites in Colorado Avalanche. I saw so many brackets that had the Colorado Avalanche winning it all this season. And the Dallas Stars, they looked good for the first two games. They were up 3-1 against Colorado Avalanche. That was whenever three of the four series were up 3-1. And everybody thought that one of these teams was going to force a game seven and ultimately going to screw up. All three of those teams forced a game seven, but in this series and with every other series, the Dallas Stars won. So the team that originally had the 3-1 lead won. Fantastic. Great. They met the Vegas Golden Knights in the Western Conference Finals. And going into that matchup, in game number one, they showed what kind of game they wanted to play. It was going to be a hard-hitting, physical matchup. In game number one, though, they did limit the shots Vegas had. And in game number two, they got outshot by Vegas by a hefty amount, and that seemed to be the narrative for the rest of the series, was just getting outshot by Vegas, but somehow being able to make it out alive and win the series in 5 games. Congratulations is really all I can say to the Dallas Stars. Congratulations, you guys have earned your spot in the Stanley Cup Finals. You have punched that ticket. Congratulations. Now let's look at some of the key factors as to what helped the Dallas Stars get there. The two leading goal scorers for the Dallas Stars, or at least point scorers, leading the team is Miro Heiskanen with 5 goals, 17 assists, and 22 points. Followed closely behind is Jamie Benn with 8 goals, 10 assists, and 18 points. However, I think that there is one singular guy who needs to be mentioned and given like a little shining star. Because like I said, the Vegas Golden Knights outshot Dallas by a hefty amount for 4 of the 5 games. It was not pretty. Vegas had a lot of pressure being put on the Dallas Stars. Anton Khudobin stood his ground to win the series. He played amazingly. I cannot give him enough credit. This dude was fantastic on the ice. He stood on his head. He reminded me a lot of Corey Crawford in game number 4 of the round 1 Vegas Golden Knights series, where it was an elimination game for the Blackhawks. And Corey Crawford said, "We're not going home tonight." They went home 2 nights later. Either way, Anton Khudobin played that way for the entire series. He has a 12-6 record overall since returning to play, 2.62 goals against average with a 92% save percentage. This dude, his numbers in the Western Conference Finals are much better than the overall because, like I said, Dallas did not start hot, but he got hot, and he's turned into one of my absolute favorites to watch. So congratulations, Dallas Stars, on being the Western Conference champions. Now you will be facing a test against the Eastern Conference champions, the Tampa Bay Lightning. The Tampa Bay Lightning, since returning to play, are 14-5. In the round robin, they beat the Washington Capitals, they beat the Boston Bruins, and only lost to the Philadelphia Flyers. In round number 1, they played the Columbus Blue Jackets as a repeat of last season, where the Columbus Blue Jackets swept the Tampa Bay Lightning in the very first round. It was shocking. They made sure that didn't happen this time around. In game number 1, they went to 5 overtimes, 8 total periods of play. That's almost 9 periods, which would be 3 whole games. That is a lot of time to be playing on the ice. There were a lot of questions about, can this team go deep now that they've been out playing? They played for so long. They got to be tired. Well, they wrapped up that series in 5 games, winning it 4-1. Then they faced the Boston Bruins, and they did the exact same thing. They won the series in 5 games, beating the Bruins 4-1. Now, Boston Bruins fans might argue, oh, we didn't have our starting goaltender. Tuukka Rask left in the middle of the first round. And honestly, the backup played very well against Tampa, in my opinion. Now, his numbers may not reflect it, but I thought he put up a fairly good fight. Either way, you can't take anything away from Tampa Bay either, because they played very well against the Boston Bruins. They played very well against the Columbus Blue Jackets. They were on fire heading into the Eastern Conference Finals, where they faced the New York Islanders. Now, the New York Islanders, the New York Islanders won their series in 7 games to make it to the finals. They were up, but the Tampa Bay Lightning were up 3-1. The Islanders forced a game 5, they forced a game 6, and ultimately they lost in game 6. The last 2 games that the Tampa Bay Lightning played were in overtime. They lost in double overtime to the New York Islanders, but they won in game number 6 in overtime. The team has fought valiantly to make up for last season being swept by the Columbus Blue Jackets. Once they got past their demons for that series, they've been on a roll. They've done it, and I just want to say congratulations to the Tampa Bay Lightning, because I know they fought hard. The last 2 games have been very brutal for them. I know for game number 5, a lot of fans online have been saying that they were very bored during that game because there weren't a lot of shots on goal. It was very much a grind fest, and I understand that. But it was still hockey, and hockey is great. Not saying that every game is going to be fantastic. I'm just saying it's good to have hockey back. But let's go ahead and take a look at their leading point scorer, Nikita Kucherov, with 6 goals, 20 assists, and 26 points. He was not the leading point getter for the team before tonight. Before tonight, it was actually Braden Point with 9 goals, 16 assists, and 25 points. But after game number 6, Nikita Kucherov took first place. Fantastic. Congratulations. They have a lot of good point scorers on the Tampa Bay Lightning. But that is good news for their goaltender, Andrei Vasilevsky. Andrei Vasilevsky is a very young goaltender, but he is fantastic. He's one of my favorites to watch because I know I'm going to see excellence when he plays. Now, what I find a little surprising is he's actually just a couple months older than me, and it really makes me wonder what I'm doing. He's going to the Stanley Cup Finals, and I'm in college. Ah, and here I am talking about this. My first test is on Monday, and then here I am talking about this. So I hope you guys appreciate it. Andrei Vasilevsky is 14-5 since returning to play with a 1.82 goals against average and a 93.1% save percentage. He is on fire. He's been playing great. He's played every game for the Tampa Bay Lightning as the starter, and he doesn't look like he's slowing down at all. The Tampa Bay Lightning, they have grinded to get to where they are. And again, for both of these teams, I am very happy that both of these guys made it because I think we're going to be in for a very fun series. Entertainment-wise, if you don't like hard-hitting matchups, I don't think this is it. I don't think this is going to be a high-scoring game, especially if Anton Khudobin can play how he played against the Vegas Golden Knights. If they can do that, I think that this series is going to go to the Dallas Stars. Now, hear me out on this. Hear me out. The Tampa Bay Lightning, for the last two games, Game 5 and Game 6, against the New York Islanders, they really reminded me of the Vegas Golden Knights coming out of the Vancouver series, where they just weren't able to get the puck in the net. Now, I'm not saying Lightning can't score. Certainly they can. We see that with their point scorers, but they aren't doing it as they should, right? Is it just me? Like, they have good shots, but the lucky bounces aren't there for them. Lately, it's been there for the Dallas Stars. That's a problem in my eyes because I'm having flashbacks and I just don't know if the Tampa Bay Lightning can bounce back. They are tired, but so are the Dallas Stars. It's going to be a brutal matchup. The Dallas Stars love to get in your face. They love to press you against the boards. It's going to be a very physical and grind-festy game series. Now, I'm not saying that Tampa Bay is just going to roll over and let the Dallas Stars hoist the cup above them. No, not at all. I'm expecting a fight between both of these teams for this cup. They have been away from their families for so long that this cup is probably going to mean more to these two teams than a lot of teams prior. I'm not trying to take away anything from any of the other champions, but this one, they actually sacrificed a lot. Whereas the home teams, they got to be at home, spend time with their families. Not this year. They have been isolated with their only real interactions are with each other. Both of these teams want to go home and see their families, but both of these teams want the Stanley Cup. It is a very hard choice, but like I said, I'm leaning towards the Dallas Stars. I think Anton Khudobin, he played outstanding. I know that the point getters for the Dallas Stars aren't as high as the Tampa Bay, but Tampa Bay is slowing down. This feels like a repeat of the Vegas series, and if Dallas can just keep their head above their shoulders, they can do it. This is going to be a very fun and exciting series. I'm so happy for hockey being back. If you guys want, I do respond to almost everybody in my comment section. I want to hear why the Dallas Stars are going to win, but I also want to hear why the Tampa Bay Lightning are going to win. As you can tell, I don't have a lot of stats on here. And so if you guys think there's a stat that needs to be said, say it, because this right here is what it's all about. But with that, in mind, everybody. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the final score. Thank you and good night.